Hi everyone. Today I want to spend some time talking about my favorite fitness and sleep tracker, the Whoop. I have it on, always have it on. I've been a member for more than 2 years, so I'm going to share my favorite and not so favorite things about the Whoop. So, first of all, I just want to put it out there that this is in no way sponsored by Whoop. They could definitely find someone with more than 2 subscribers, but if they would want me and my fabulous ways to sponsor Whoop, I would not say no. Let's put it that way. So, let's get back to the reason why we're here today. In order to tell you about my opinion about Whoop, I have collected a list of 10 things. 7 of these things are things I love about the Whoop, and 3 things are wishes. But all in all, I'll tell you after the whole video if I would recommend it or not. So I will tell you that I will not be going through the science at a deep level, but I will tell you my opinion about what it's like to wear it on an everyday basis for the last 2 years. And I want to tell you that if you make it through the whole video, there's a little bit of secret at the end that I will share with you that will help you calibrate your Whoop more to your body and how it works. So stay tuned. So now that we have that out of the way, I wanted to give you a high-level overview about what the Whoop is and what you can expect from it before I dive into my 10 opinions about the Whoop. So, on a high level, the Whoop is a fitness and sleep tracker that tracks your data 24/7 in order to give you insights and metrics about your sleep, your recovery, and your strain. So now I want to take you on a journey with me into the app and walk through the different metrics that you can see through the Whoop and how I use them. Alright, here you can see my phone. Now, as we open up the Whoop app, we're looking at the home page. So here you can see a collection of the different metrics that I just talked about briefly. So what I want to do is first go through sleep. So that means we're going to pop on over to sleep. And the Whoop tracks everything you would want to know about your sleep, from how many hours you slept, to how many disturbances you had, even the different amount of lengths that you stay in each sleep cycle. So 100% means that you have reached the amount of sleep needed, and we can see here that there is almost an hour of sleep that I needed that I did not get, and hence why we have a lower sleep performance. And you can always press on the question marks to really understand what it is that they mean. Okay, so let's go back to the Whoop. So, the Whoop will also recommend how much you sleep. So it's unique for everybody, and will be based on how much you've been sleeping and how much activity you did in the last few days. So if we want to look at a little bit about my sleep need, there's going to be an 8-hour and 30-minute of sleep need. And it looks at the baseline, so how much sleep I would need if I just went on about life as normal. The added amount of sleep I need to counteract the extra strain that was from activities and how it impacted my body to recover, basically. Any sleep debt, which is however much sleep that I need to catch up on past sleeps where I didn't get enough. And then recent naps would actually make the sleep need less because you actually got a little bit more sleep there. So let's move on to the strain now. So now we're looking at the strain. It's on a scale from 0 to 21. 21 being the highest amount of strain on the app. So the day strain can be increased by any type of activity, from running to lifting to cleaning, and they add new activities all the time, which is really cool. So according to the Whoop, the definition of the strain is that it's a summary metric of cardiovascular load achieved during an individual activity or over a day. The strain is then calculated by the duration of time you spend in each of your max heart rate zones established from your max heart rate. The more elevated your heart rate and for the longer period of times that it's elevated, the higher your strain will be. So, as an Olympic weightlifter, my strain never gets very high because my heart rate just doesn't go into the higher heart rate zones, but rather I lift, I sit down, and I lift again. Whereas if I was running, then my heart rate would stay consistently at a higher heart rate, and depending on what pace I'm doing and if I'm pushing myself, it may go to the max heart rate, and there would be an easier, and I would have an easier time to have a higher strain. Okay, so now that we talked a little bit about the strain, let's talk about recovery. So recovery is the big reason why I love the Whoop, because you have one number that can show you how recovered you are and what you can either expect from the day or how you can change your behavior to have better recovery for the next day. For example, if you're competing the next day or you're trying to elevate your fitness gains, this can be a good number to keep track of. So, the definition is that Whoop's recovery score lets you know how your body is responding to training. The recovery score is a percent from 0 to 100 and is divided into red, green, and yellow. So if you're in the green, like I am today, then you are well recovered and ready to perform. If you happen to be in the yellow, you are maintaining health. You may or may not need to rest. If you're in the red, then you are working harder to recover. Your body is the one working harder to recover. And it's suggested that you may want to take a lighter day of activity and focus on recovery. However, these different metrics can also be a good way to test out different training schedules to see what your body will work with best. Because you need a certain amount of strain in order to get your fitness gains, but you also want to be able to balance it with enough recovery so that you're still thriving with your training plan instead of being consistently in the red and under recovered. Then you actually lose fitness gains. So the question is always, how is the recovery score calculated? So the recovery score is calculated based on 4 different physiological markers, and these are the heart rate variability, the resting heart rate, sleep, and the respiratory rate. So the HRV, also known as the heart rate variability, measures the variation in time between each heartbeat. And then the resting heart rate measures your beats per minute of your heart during your deepest sleep. I will say that one cool thing about the Whoop is that it does pick up on activities that you do. So for example, if we look at yesterday, we can see that I did weightlifting, and this was an activity that the Whoop picked up, and thereby I can see the strain for the activity in itself. I think we are ready to dive into the meat of this video, which is my 10 opinions about the Whoop. 7 of these opinions will be what I love about the Whoop, and 3 of them are opportunities areas for the Whoop from my perspective. So, without further ado, let's get started. So the first thing that I love about the Whoop is how easy it is to see how well my body is primed to meet the day. And here I'm talking about that recovery score that we looked at before. With the recovery score, I love looking at the number of hours I slept and the sleep metrics, because one of my goals in the last few years have been to get better sleep. The second thing I love about the Whoop is the Whoop journal. So this Whoop journal is something that Whoop asks you to fill in every morning before you see your recovery score. And you can do it like I did. I only picked the ones that were pertinent to what habits I'm trying to make or break, and then that's how I decided to set it up. So if we look here, I have, for example, the caffeine journal, Did I feel purpose in my life? Did I have a late meal? Did I share my bed? Did I sleep in my own bed? Did I drink alcohol? And so on. So the more you answer these questions, the more data Whoop will have about how your specific behavior correlates to your recovery score on the app. And this is where it gets really cool. Here you can see that it's looking at my January 2021 performance. Now you can see what impacted my recovery percentages. Wow, look at this. So alcohol decreased my recovery score by 27%. That's a lot. So now, with this information, drinking alcohol is not the best thing I can do for myself if I want to have a higher recovery rate. But number 3 goes into looking at the app, see these actionable insights, like here we found a little nugget. So it says hydration. Your HRV typically increases by 15.2% when you report hydration. Your recovery has on average increased up to 67%. So that I can incorporate this behavior in the future. To number 4. And this is the sleep coach. So every evening before you go to bed, the Whoop will look at your data and figure out how much it believes that you should sleep in order to perform the next day. So right now it says that my recommended time to be in bed is 8 hours and 51 minutes, and that means going to bed at 11:09 p.m. if I want to wake up at 8 a.m. as I need 8 hours and 10 minutes of sleep. So let's say that I need to wake up at 5 a.m. tomorrow. The Whoop will calculate the amount of time needed to sleep so that it can show me what time I need to go to bed tonight. This is a good way for me to understand how I should plan my day. Number 5 is one of my favorite things. So if you have close friends who also have a Whoop, this can be a little fun, friendly competition. So if you go here to your community, you can look at your teams. Let's go to Team Resolutions, with which anyone can join. So this is something that I like because I'm a competitive person, and it makes me want to be better in recovery and in my sleep habits so that I can beat some of these people one day. The best thing about it, so number 6 is actually a combination of the battery life and the method of how you charge your Whoop. So the battery life is a whopping 5 days, which is a long time for a fitness tracker. You receive a cord and this thing. So usually I'll keep this thing charged all the time, and I just put like this Apple thing on the end so that I can put it into the wall. It makes it easier for me. But then once this is charged fully, you can remove it from the cord. You can simply put it on, and then you're able to charge it without being attached to the cord. Now the Whoop is waterproof, but the battery pack is not, so you have to be careful about taking the battery pack off if you're, for example, going swimming or you're going to the shower. For number 7, another thing I like about Whoop is that they continuously improve both the app, the hardware, and the whole experience. For example, in the last week, there's been a few more items added to the Whoop journal so that you're able to track. For example, if you went to see the physical therapist today, you can put that in your Whoop journal the next day so you can see how your recovery changes based on if you went to the physical therapy or not. Love about the Whoop. Let's get into my 3 opinions about the opportunities which Whoop has. It is a little bit on the expensive side, and you can see I added in the different prices here. If you buy 18 months ahead, it'll only be $18 per month instead of the $30 per month. So I think that's a great savings trick. And then if you are getting the Whoop, you can use my code, which is in the comments below, and you can actually get the first month off. So the second thing is that there's an opportunity for might be to add some kind of watch face, even just the numbers of what time it is. It doesn't have to be fancy at all. But since you are wearing something, it feels like it would be nice not to have a redundancy of wearing both of them. at the same time wearing a watch and the Whoop at the same time. So I would like to see just some type of capability to help tell the time as well. And then a third area for improvement would be that I have the opinion that sometimes it's really frustrating with connectivity issues if you don't get your recovery immediately in the morning, or if your Bluetooth stops working with the hardware itself. So I've had a little bit of these problems. Customer support at Whoop is always very helpful, and they respond to whatever it is that you want to talk about pretty much immediately. But it is something frustrating that I hope that Whoop will keep working on to improve the hardware. Maybe the Whoop 4.0 will be even better than the 3.0, so I'm looking forward to that. Would I recommend the Whoop? And heck yes, I would recommend the Whoop. For someone who's really intent on improving their lives, the Whoop provides actionable data and insights on how to improve your habits surrounding recovery and sleep. This will lead to even more fitness gains than you already have, and you will be able to just surpass your competition and really gain the goals that you want. So is that I'm a huge believer in James Clear's theory of marginal gains, and the Whoop has given me data points to help change my everyday behavior. So if you don't know what James Clear means when he says his theory of marginal gains, if you can get 1% better each day for 1 year, you'll end up 37 times better by the time you're done. However, if you conversely become 1% worse every day for 1 year, you'll decline down to 0. So these small improvements of 1% per day really compounds, and suddenly you find yourself being a lot more closer to your goals than you would have been if you didn't make these small changes every day. And this also applies to your fitness journey. Recovery and sleep plays a huge part in what our bodies are able to do, and just a little bit of a gain on the recovery side really helps you perform better tomorrow. I would say that there's 3 things that I changed in my life after getting the Whoop. The first one is I definitely have been drinking less alcohol. The second thing that I changed after getting the Whoop is that I kicked my dog off the bed during the night. She was causing so many disturbances during my sleep, so in order to get better sleep, I got her own little bed cushion so that she could sleep on the floor and I could take up more space in the bed. And then the third thing that changed is how I view sleep. Now, after getting the Whoop, I've added sleep to the list of things I must do in order to really fulfill my goals and live my life the way I want it to be. Okay, so if you want to learn more about sleep, there's a good book I would recommend. It's called Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. This book really goes deep into the science of sleep and how it affects our health. And Matthew Walker actually argues that there's a correlation between sleep and our well-being. I would definitely recommend. It goes deep into the science of why we sleep as humans based on evolution. But also it looks at a 12-step checklist for how we can each have better sleep, which I really recommend. Now for the thing you've all been waiting for, which is that little secret I said about calibrating your body to the Whoop. So, if you end up taking a DEXA scan or any type of body scans, which will state your resting metabolic rate, so basically the amount of calories that you burn without doing anything. So this is really good for people who may be more muscular than what their height and weight indicates. And therefore, the calorie burned on Whoop is not as close to what reality is. Ask for your profile to be calibrated with the RMR that you have from one of these body scans. Alright, that's it for me today. So remember that if you are jumping on the bandwagon and getting one of these beauties, then feel free to use my link down in the comments. And thank you all and see you soon. Bye.